All right, folks, it is October 8th, 2024, and in tonight's update, we're going to be talking about Wall Street and the demand for XRP that they want to fill, that they want to answer. This is no longer a question, a theory, speculation, or, you know, basically hype that cannot be justified. We have two ETF filings that have officially been submitted to the SEC. You can read it on the SEC website. This is demand that Wall Street is trying to fill. And so in tonight's update, I want to go through the current events, talk about what's taking place in the financial markets, and then we'll talk about why Wall Street, why I put in the thumbnail and the title, Wall Street wants XRP. I put a picture of Brad Garlinghouse laughing with Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, because I think that these guys have been laughing behind the scenes for a while at a cryptocurrency space that just doesn't understand, that's been misled about XRP. It's not talked about. When it is talked about, there's confusion, there's FUD, there's all sorts of, irrational takes on XRP. The lawsuit against XRP, why is this all happening? Because it actually solves a real problem. It actually has a real utility, just like the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, Rosie Rios, pointed out to us. There's a reason why people want exposure to XRP. There's a reason why it's remained a top 10. And despite folks that said there was never going to be an XRP ETF, there's not enough demand. They're going to do a Solana ETF first. They're going to do a Dogecoin ETF first. All sorts of crazy stuff. And then here we are, two S1 filings for XRP ETFs, amongst other partnerships that I'm going to be talking about in tonight's live show. We're not going anywhere. So, in regards to the current events, incredible events taking place. I'm going to go through the BRICS update, what's been taking place with BRICS and how much silver they're trying to acquire right now. Pretty incredible what just got drained from the vaults. 8% of the LBMA getting drained. So we're going to be talking about that. Then I want to talk about current events back home here in the United States before we're rounded off with financial markets cryptocurrency update. So once again, folks, if you appreciate what we're doing here on a daily basis to keep you guys up to date, real quick, just make sure you guys are liking all of the videos, helping me out by sharing it out far and wide. And if you're new here, make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell. Let's get started right away. Russia and Chinese Navy conduct joint anti-submarine drills in the Pacific. They're working together on the military front when it comes to the currency and the commodity war, working together as well. We're talking BRICS. We're talking acquiring silver. It is official from William Middlecoop. This is shared here out of Moscow, Interfax, September 30th. Russian government starts buying palladium, platinum, and silver on top of what they've been buying for gold. So this is the Russian Finance Ministry proposing to allocate 51.5 billion rubles in 2025 to buy precious metals and gemstones, according to the draft federal budget for 2025. So they have added silver now. The plan is to acquire refined gold, silver, platinum, and palladium to increase the share of highly liquid assets in the state fund, the explanatory note says. So Russia, add them to the list. Silver miners struggle to keep up with the demand as supply hasn't been able to keep up for the last 3 years, and 2024 is expected to be the same. What's happened is that we've had deficits for the past 3 years. There's been more demand than what we've been able to fill or produce, which is what all this comes down to. We don't have to overcomplicate investing, these markets. Well, we have so much confusion right now, and I think that there's so much overcomplication of these topics. When you go through all of the equity markets, when you go through the bond market, when you look at real estate, when you look at businesses, you're talking about the same, half a dozen different instruments, financial instruments, economic instruments that basically run off of a simple supply-demand dynamic. And it's not that hard to do the arithmetic. It's not that hard to see that there's been historical deficits for silver for the past 3 years, while demand for this asset from a monetary reserve is going up. And the real demand has primarily been driven by the industrial use, which is only set to expand even further. Now, we covered it. Russia's stockpiling it. We see other investors like myself are hedging with, against the dollar by stacking silver. What does Citi have to say? On top of the industrial use, the case for silver is as strong as it has been in decades. This is from Citibank. So even the banksters are finally having to admit how strong the story is for silver. Now, excuse me, this last week on Friday, we saw that silver broke above $33 per ounce for the first time in a long time, right? We're talking about this little coin right here going up to $33 per ounce. This is why I've been stacking this metal while it's been sub 30. Now, today we got a pullback in the markets, but when you look at the thesis that Citibank, that the Russian finance ministry holds, that India, I'm about to talk about India in one of our next slides here. When we show you here what's taking place with the industrial use set to the industrial demand growing rapidly, exponentially growing, especially if we want to do a Green New Deal, right? The fundamental thesis is there. The arithmetic is there. You don't have to overcomplicate this stuff. I was listening on some spaces today and folks are debating, is gold going to play a role? Is silver going to play a role? No, it already is right now. How the technical process of backing one's nation, speculating on which nation will back their country's currency by this or that asset, you can speculate till the sun comes up tomorrow. The point being, what do we know? What do we know is being accumulated right now? What are they stacking right now? What are they adding to their reserves right now? They are adding silver and gold. Is there a plan to tokenize it down the road and put it on public blockchains? Probably. Absolutely. We know many people are already working on this. But what we do know is that they are draining the vaults at a rapid pace. This is our good friend Andy Sheck and Miles Franklin explaining how central banks and global South nations are driving demand for gold and silver, with 8.1% of the LBMA silver delivered in August alone. So in 1 month, 8% of this global exchange for gold and silver just got drained. Can you imagine this taking place in the cryptocurrency space? This would be hyped up like we've never seen before. If 8.1% of the Bitcoin supply was taken off exchanges in 1 month, everybody would be losing their mind in the cryptocurrency space. Well, this is happening right now in the precious metal space. Excuse me. And it's being completely overlooked, especially here in the West. Out east, in China, in Russia, these other nations like India, they're accumulating it faster than they, as fast as possible. Here's Andy Sheckman right here, listening on this quick clip right here.
Now, you could go a step further and say the central banks, who are the biggest money and the most informed money, well, they're buying gold hand over fist, and it's not stopping. Because, number one, you have a draining of the exchanges. No one ever stood for delivery before. In the month of August, 8.1% of all of the silver available for delivery in London was delivered. 8% in 1 month was taken off of the exchange. And you're seeing massive deliveries where these countries are standing for delivery, and they understand because they are motivated, coordinated, sophisticated, wealthy, and they understand that they can stand for delivery. The London Metals Exchange, LBMA, is 140 years old, and the majority of its entire life, all of these countries in the global south were third world, under sophisticated, certainly not motivated or coordinated. Now, you could go a step further and say the central banks, who are the biggest.
Motivated, coordinated, sophisticated, and wealthy. And it's being added as a strategic reserve for industrial use, as a reserve currency. We're seeing it across the board. Now, like I said, India, another country that we've been watching them just drain vaults. They've been stacking as much silver, importing hundreds of millions of ounces. And this article right here from Watcher Guru shows, despite these countries, despite the BRICS nations stockpiling gold, stockpiling silver, they still can't get away from the US dollar. India makes major announcement on US dollar usage. And basically what they said is that they're going to continue to use it for countries that are still using the US dollar. Now, the important thing to note, though, because there's like US dollar maxis out there that want to, say that the BRICS is nothing. They'll point out articles like this and say, see, we told you, they still are going to use the reserve currency, the US dollar. And it's like, yeah, we get that. But the problem is that we've been losing our share of the reserve currency. So although these countries are still using the US dollar and they're saying that we're not doing away with it, they're not using it like they used to. The other thing that is not mentioned is that the countries now have more access and ability and ease to transact without the US dollar. So there's no reason for it. So when it comes to countries like China, Russia, and their other trading partners that don't want to use the US dollar, India is not going to use the US dollar. So don't get it twisted on these headlines where one may think, oh, the US dollar is going to live forever. Everything's A-okay because they're still going to use the US dollar. They're still using it, but not as much. And this is how reserve currencies die, right? It's slowly, then all of a sudden, you have to do a currency reset. And the big problem that's not being talked about in this election cycle is the deficit, right? Neither side of the aisle is talking about deficits, but they are talking about programs, spending more money, and nobody wants to address that. The problem why that relates to the reserve currency status is because this is what's corroding the trust in the US dollar, is that we're running these deficits, we're running up the debt, and we have no way out. The only way out is to inflate till we get to a point where we have to do another Bretton Woods agreement and we have to reset the reserve currency of the world. Now we're in the middle of a world war. There's also some crazy stuff happening back here in the United States. Markets are being turned over. We're seeing stocks and indexes in China, Hong Kong, having losses that we haven't seen since the great financial crisis. Some of these stocks are losing more than they've ever lost ever before, right? So this is a changing playing field. This is this is not a stagnant situation here. It's always moving. But what the point that I wanted to bring up with this clip right here is that although these countries are going to continue to use the US dollar, and they might not move away from the US dollar completely, right? The share of the US dollar reserve currency status is being lost, right? And it's a slow death, right? Soft kill of the US dollar reserve currency status. Silver was back down today. They beat it up, right? There's a lot of reason to beat up silver. A lot of industrial use. A lot of folks want to pick up cheap silver for their industrial use. But then you also just got a lot of, folks that don't want to let this thing breathe. And we broke through 33. We're going to watch it closely. Silver just went back on sale. Like I said, this is why I've been stacking it under $30 an ounce. I'm not worried about, I could have bought it, cheaper. What I look at right now is today's price is not where the fundamental value is. Now, the fundamental value on silver is at $50 per ounce, $100 per ounce. We're going to find out. It's the same thing that I say with XRP. Is the fundamental value for XRP $2, $5, $589? We can debate till the sun comes up tomorrow, but the point being is that there's an arbitrage opportunity that I'm going to take advantage of. I'm not going to sit here and speculate all night long trying to, pin down the exact fundamental value. I'm going to accumulate. And if the asset gets cut in half, well, then my upside opportunity just doubled up because I know we're going in a direction that takes us towards higher prices. I think that $50 silver is easily done. I think that $5 XRP is easily done. I think that $3,000 per ounce gold is easily done. And those are just the conservative predictions. If the conservative predictions hold an opportunity from an investment perspective, then we'll just continue to accumulate while they'll give us these cheap prices. If they beat them up, then we just buy more. Very simple when it comes to XRP, when it comes to silver. Now, this is Peter Schiff saying, as I forecast, the yield on the 10-year Treasury is now over 4%. It will keep rising until the Fed returns to QE, likely by the first quarter of 2025, which would be with a new administration, right? This is something that I'm saying as well, is that no matter who gets elected, that money printer is going to have to get turned back on. Without QE, yields will rise above 5%, then 6%. Oil prices are also rising above $76, up 17% since last month's low. QE will send oil much higher. And it also will send all of these other assets much higher, right? The assets that you actually need. Now, we're also going to see that in the cryptocurrency space. This is why I'm so excited about this opportunity. And when these assets still remain on sale, I'm happy as can be. I know it was Prime Day. I'm not taking advantage of Prime Day. Instead of taking advantage of Prime Day, I'm buying more of these assets. XRP, silver, etc. Prime Day is a scam anyways. I think that they just jack up the prices leading up into Prime Day. They say, oh yeah, it's 20% off. It's 50% off. I think that they're scamming us with the Prime Day. What do you guys think about that? Now, I do see someone asked about clarifying what David Schwartz said about stablecoins yesterday. Good question. Bruce, I did actually talk about that in my update that I provided earlier today. The point being is that you need stablecoins, legitimate stablecoins brought to the XRP ledger, and that even for Ripple stablecoin, it's on the XRP ledger and Ethereum. But for all the transactions that take place on the XRP ledger, you're burning XRP, and you need XRP to conduct those transactions. So XRP is always needed when you're using any asset on the XRP ledger, no matter whether that's a meme coin or RLUSD. XRP is still needed. So XRP still has that role, along with the competitive advantage when it comes to auto bridging on the XRP ledger. Through auto bridging, XRP is always probably going to have the best liquidity in most cases with most pairs, right? So XRP is always going to be the best source of liquidity, and it's always going to be that bridge currency, that neutral bridge currency with no counterparty, no jurisdiction, and it can't be frozen and it can't be clawed back. That's what we all want. That's what got us all into Bitcoin. That's what got us all into silver, gold. We wanted to get into an asset as a hedge against inflation, store of value, a call against the dollar with no counterparty. Now, this is the unique advantage that XRP will always have, but stablecoins do things that XRP doesn't, like supposed to stay stable, right? Which is important when it comes to DeFi, because think about it, when you put your XRP up as collateral on a loan, which is what many of us want to do, right? This is how the rich don't pay taxes legally, right? Is you take out loans against your assets, you don't sell them, and then you use them to buy more assets or to produce income where it's going to be tax-free for you. Well, the problem is it looks good on paper, right? Till your underlying asset, your collateral, your XRP goes down 50%. And then your banker or the DeFi protocol or whoever wrote the smart contract or whoever you did the deal with calls you up and says, hey, man, your collateral's been cut in half. We're about to margin call your butt unless you have more collateral. And unless you have more collateral, you're going to get cleaned out and your underlying assets will be taken. They will be liquidated. They will be sold to close off your loan, whether you've breached your covenant, whether you've breached the terms of your DeFi smart contract. I think that we're going to have a plethora of choices when it comes to DeFi. I think that we'll be able to go to Bank of America, just like we'll be able to go to the XRP ledger with a completely decentralized protocol like the AMM. That's called being your own bank. Does Bank of America survive the banking crisis? I don't have to worry about that. What I need to worry about is, am I generating income, whether that's in US dollars or a fiat equivalent, or maybe you want to get paid in something else, right? Are you generating income? And are you able to stack any of these assets? Because those who control assets now, those who control assets into the future, are going to be the ones that can make sure that they are not left behind. What's happening right now is we're being broken up into two different classes, the haves and the have-nots, and it's the having of assets that's dividing us. Right? It's the primary way that we're going to be separated going forward if they are able to achieve their agenda, if we're not able to get a level playing field. The new financial system that we dream of is one of transparency, where we get to see where all the value's at. The point being, I don't need to speculate on whether the US dollar is going to be backed by gold, or whether China's going to back it by whatever, or whether Russia's going to back it by oil. That doesn't matter. The point being is that we're going to be able to see what it's backed by. We're going to be able to understand. Transparency is going to provide the truth for us. Whether you want to trust the US government, the Russian government, the Chinese government, or assets with no counterparty risk, which is where it ultimately lies, where the real wealth is in income producing assets and assets with no counterparty risk. That's all this is. That's all this whole game is right now, is building up enough, income from our assets that we can be free, that we can live the life that we want, and to be able to hold enough of these assets without counterparty risk so that we can preserve the wealth. That's all this game is. And when it comes to this new financial system, They're actively destroying it right now. Is that because they want to roll out the new financial system? Is that by accident? Like I said, some of these things I don't even waste too much time debating, speculating, or coming up with a conspiracy theory on. I just know what's happening and what we need to do to react. And what I think is catching a lot of people off guard, back to the original point, Peter Schiff says this yield's gone back above 4%. Now, the yields are going higher because folks are worried that inflation is going to be coming back. We just got a strong jobs report after the Fed cut rates. We got a strong jobs report, and the market's back up to nearly all-time highs on this news, right? That, everything's okay. But at the same time, the bond market is saying Powell and the Fed and the talking head pundits are full of crap. Inflation fight has not been won. Our economy's not actually that strong. And we will have to turn back on that money printer. Like Peter Schiff says, whether it's in Q1 of 2025, Q2, or sooner, it definitely could be sooner too if we get Black Swan, right? We're teetering on the edge. And I shared with you guys over the past couple weeks that in 2007, when the Fed cut by 50 basis points to start that rate cutting cycle before the great financial crisis, we got a 50 basis point rate cut. Everybody celebrated. The market pumped for 2 weeks after until October 9th. Well, guess what day tomorrow is? Or maybe it's already October 9th, depending on where you're tuning in from here tonight on this late night stream. So go figure. On the same exact days as the 2007 cycle, we're cutting rates, and tomorrow it would just be a perfect coincidence if we shot up to an all-time high, which we don't even really have to shoot up. We're already nearly there. The S&P 500 went back up today. It's less than 0.5% or maybe 1%. I don't even think it's 1% away from its all-time high. On the same exact day, October 9th, here we go once again, and it's fooling everybody. Now, I think the bond market, I don't know why it took them this long to see it, because this is something that we've been talking about, but it's almost like the bond market traded as if we were going to be able to achieve that soft landing. And so the yields started to come back down. People wanted to do deals with the U.S. government. Now, once again, we're realizing, oh, crap, wait, hold up. Maybe I don't want to do a 10-year deal or a 20 or a 30-year deal with the U.S. government. So that yield's shooting back up. Look at how this is impacting real estate. Mortgage rates had gone down to 6.1%. Even though mortgage rates had gone down, they were at almost 8%. They went back down to 6.1%. Despite that fact of rates coming back down, buyers weren't coming off the sidelines. Inventory still coming up. Buyers not coming off the sidelines. Lowest mortgage demand in 30 plus years. Lowest buyer sentiment in 60 years. How do people feel about buying a home? They haven't felt this bad about buying a home since 1960. Reflected by the mortgage demand, mortgage applications being at the lowest level in 30 years. Now, the Fed rate cut was supposed to save us. Now the bond yields are coming up, bond market calling the bluff, and this is impacting real estate, but it's going to impact all of the debt market, all of the credit market, which is why I've been describing this as a global margin call. Global margin call all the way from the Japan carry trade, all the way down to the crypto bro degenerate who's trading with 100x leverage, who thought that Bitcoin was already on its way to 100,000, was going long the farm, and they've already been liquidated multiple times. Into the current events, and then we'll go back into cryptocurrency here. Let's take a look at it. Afghan man arrested in Oklahoma City for plotting mass bad things. That's how I'm going to get into. I'm not even going to say it. Mass bad things on the election day. Now, this is something that I've been talking about for a while in my community and with you guys here, is that there are folks here to cause trouble, and I'm putting this very lightly and politically correct. There's folks here to cause trouble, and they are now being activated, if you haven't realized that. That's why there's been 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump. That's why there was this guy who just got arrested for wanting to do some bad stuff on our election day. Now, thank God, I was worried about yesterday, which was the 1-year anniversary of the Israel attack, the October 7th attack. I was worried that we were going to get a copycat. Thank God we didn't. And I continue to pray that, this isn't going to get too bad. But the point being is that we're keeping our head on a swivel right now because we know the agents are being activated. Who are they agents for? Well, like I've been saying on tonight's stream here tonight, I don't need to figure out, is it this entity behind them? Is it that entity? Is it this guy or that guy or this God or that God? Whoever's motivating them, they're here and they are activated. Where do they come from? Who's behind them? Not going to matter when they come to do the bad stuff that is outlined here, what this guy was planning. And he's just one of many. Is it 1, 2, 10,000, 20,000, a million, or more? Folks that are here to cause trouble. Well, we can debate that all night long, but like I said, we're keeping our head on a swivel these days. And we're praying right now actively because we're about to get hit once again with another major hurricane. In the meantime, right now, FEMA's saying that they're out of money, but we have a watchdog group uncovering $7 billion in untapped FEMA funds despite Mayorkas claiming that none are available. A DHS Inspector General report found over $7 billion in unliquidated FEMA funds. Now, shout out to all the taxpayers in the chat. Let me know. Well, maybe you guys don't. Most people don't want to talk about this publicly. Shout out to all the taxpayers in the chat. Let me know how this makes you feel. Now, I guess this doesn't compare to the, what, was it 1 trillion or 2 trillion that Donald Rumsfeld said was missing from the Pentagon before what date that I'm not even going to say tonight? Yeah, I guess this isn't that big of a deal because this is just, 7 billion that went missing? Doesn't compare to the trillion that went missing the day before 2001? If you're sick and tired of this, let me know in the comments down below because I'm sick and tired of this. I tell you what, folks, unbelievable. They have no idea how much money, where it's going, what it's been spent on, what they have. Hey, what's the solution for that? Us crazy crypto bros, we talk about all of our uses. How about some government accountability? We put the budget and the spending, the purse, let's put the purse on the blockchain. How about that one? Sounds like a pretty good use case to me because I'm sick of having to report on 7 billion lost here, 10 billion lost there. Now, this is just what they're losing. They're also blowing it on a bunch of stupidity that they approve, that they vote on. We just approved another 170 million for Lebanon? Same day that we get, we're in the middle of one hurricane preparing for another, and we find some more money for this country and that country. And I'm not saying that there's not bad things happening in these countries and that we don't want to provide support. If the American people didn't get taxed so much, we would have more to contribute to charities and provide that type of wealth to charities, to provide that type of resources to where it needs to go. But clearly it's being mismanaged. At least if the U.S. government could tell us where all these billions and trillions are going. We're adding trillions of dollars to our deficit. We don't even know where it went, where it's at, where it's going. What do we get for all this taxpayer money? We're collecting record high taxes, and we're losing more than ever before as well. A DHS Inspector General report found over $7 billion in unliquidated FEMA funds, contradicting Secretary Mayorkas' recent statement that FEMA lacked funds for future disasters. The funds earmarked for disasters from 2012 or earlier could be returned to FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund as Hurricane Milton approaches Florida. Critics are questioning the administration's priorities amid mounting crisis. Nobody knows who's in charge. Nobody knows where the money's at. Who's saving the day? It's us. It's us. Now I'm doing my part here, 1,000 miles away on the other side of the country, trying to get the word out, trying to do everything that I can to build up some wealth so that I can provide for charities and provide for those in need, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a war, whether it's something else. This ain't going to end, and that's my point. And so a huge shout out to everybody that's been stepping up. The patriots, the people, the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the veterans, the nurses, doctors, people of every walks of life that are stepping up in North Carolina. I saw a sheriff today telling basically, hey, federal government, just stay out of our way. He said, you're an anchor on this boat. We're just going to let you go. We're going to cut you free. Thank you very much. And this is the mentality and mindset that once you get locked into, you never want to go back to relying on somebody else. Once you become self-sufficient in the reliance on yourself, you never want to go back because you realize, you never can trust the government. And now I'm not saying that FEMA is not showing up and doing good things in some disasters, that there's not good people that work at FEMA, that there's not people that, good people that work at our government, that there's not good people that work at the SEC, even though I criticize and roast the SEC every single day. There are some good folks there. The problem being that the beast has gotten so big, we can't even track how far we've gone, how far we're spread, where we're at. And that, as Elon is talking about with government efficiency and government accountability, we need to just start cutting and returning and allowing the free market, entrepreneurs and capitalists to build some wealth. And with said wealth, it's incredible what people are willing to do when they don't have to turn 40, 50, 60% of their wealth over to the government each year, and they get to spend it on other businesses that provide real value efficiently without wasting billions and trillions of dollars. When it happens in a business, somebody gets fired, somebody gets held accountable. When it happens in our government, you get promoted. Gary Gensler is being considered for promotion right now. But I want to say, huge, quick prayer. May God be with us, and may God be with all those that are responding, first responders. What do they call them? I forget what they're calling them. The Appalachian Air Force. That's not what they're called. It was something else. It was something Air Force. The Redneck Air Force. That's what they're calling it. God. See, I was raised by a redneck. I was raised by multiple rednecks in my family. I was raised by veterans. They were rednecks. That's where I come from, right? We get it done. We find a way. And we just move aside anybody who tries to stand in the way too, which is what I'm glad to report on, is that the men and women down there are getting it done. And it's really uplifting to see the images of folks banding together, providing for those in need. We have all the money and the resources here in this country. And the point being, too, is that whether it's man-made by, should I even go there? Should I even go there? The point that I was going to make, though, like I've been saying all night tonight, I don't have to worry about whether it was man-made because I drive a diesel pickup truck or whether it was man-made geoengineered. Right? Which I'm laughing about that. Oh, all the crazy theories, right? It's like, no, I've been watching. The patents are from 1960 for weather modification. The patents are from 1960. What do you think they've done between 1960 and 2024? You think that they haven't been able to play with it a little bit? No, I'm not saying that this is it. That, oh my gosh, the government's attacking us. I'm not saying that. The point is that it's here, that more are coming. They expected this to be a heavy year. And the point that I want to bring home is that they're not coming to save us. And if they are, they're showing up late. Right? And they're not getting the job done. Now, continuing on, I want to get into cryptocurrency here before I ramble on too much, but I did want to take a moment because I know I've been putting out a lot of crypto content lately, and I just wanted to make it clear that it doesn't go without being noticed. It doesn't go without being mentioned. I would make more content on the current events, but doesn't do as well as the crypto content. That's what everybody wants. But I think it's equally important, and that's why I still continue to cover it, especially in my live shows, where we want to be able to put this all together, right? This is why our community has been over the target, is because we've seen these storms coming. Not just the hurricane, the financial tsunami that's wiping out so many people. The greatest transfer of wealth in world history is underway. And I retweeted out Elon Musk, the picture of Elon jumping up in the air behind Donald Trump. I retweeted it on Twitter with the caption. I said, that feeling when you know that he's about to continue the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, because that's what Elon knows, right? And he dropped some bombshells in the Tucker Carlson interview that he did yesterday as well, too. Been pretty incredible to watch Elon get activated. Now, who's the creator of Bitcoin? According to the HBO documentary that just got released tonight, they claim that it is Peter Todd. Now, I have not watched this documentary. I will be watching this documentary, and I will report back. But for now, Satoshi, according to this documentary, is Peter Todd. Now, I've never heard of Peter Todd. I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to have to look into this further before I can report on this. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this, Peter Todd, Satoshi himself being revealed. Let me know what you guys think. In regards to Bitcoin, though, Bitcoin's got a little bit of a problem. Now, it's a short-term problem, but it is a problem nonetheless. Now, one of the things that we're watching, I didn't include it in tonight's episode, but I wanted to just mention it real quick, is that the FTX distribution has been approved, and it's being done in stable coins and cash. So folks are not getting their cryptocurrency assets back, but they're going to be getting back their money paid in stable coins or cash, right? So huge amount of customer deposits being returned back to the Mt. Gox, this is the FTX distribution. The FTX distribution has just been approved, so they're going to be getting a lot of money there. Maybe they'll put it into Bitcoin. We'll see. But in the meantime, it looks like the U.S. government is getting ready to sell 69,370 Bitcoin worth about $4.3 billion at current market prices, shared here by Peter Schiff. Every once in a while, the government does something smart. This is Peter Schiff, never letting an opportunity to dig on Bitcoin pass by. He suggests that Michael Saylor should have MicroStrategy borrow another $4.3 billion and buy it. Who agrees with me? Now, Peter, of course, being Peter, always being silly, always taking a chance to dig at Bitcoin. But the point being is that we've seen a lot of bankruptcies in the space go through here, and I want to see these kind of get cleaned out, and then we'll reevaluate my Bitcoin thesis from there. But as it stands right now, I don't really see Bitcoin targeting, folks talk about 200,000 plus this cycle. I don't see that happening, right? A lot of people talk about 200,000 plus Bitcoin this cycle, 250,000 Bitcoin gets thrown out. I think that we're going to be lucky to achieve 100,000. And at the top end, I see, 120 to 150,000 on the high end. That's all I see for Bitcoin this cycle, to be honest with you guys. And it's because of stuff like this, which, 4.3 billion doesn't sound like much, right? That could be Michael Saylor or one big hedge fund. The point being, though, is, who is accumulating right now? We have continued to see BlackRock, right? We have seen the Wall Street ETFs have eaten up a lot of this Bitcoin. I want to see the distribution of Bitcoin over the coming year or so, because I think that you're going to see a lot of Bitcoin moving into these as we reach those targets. Bitcoin's going to become an asset, I think, that's overlooked by a lot of retail investors who are just going to move into other, cryptocurrency assets and even stable coins, right? As Bitcoin peaks out, I think this cycle rolls back over. Is this, one of the last moves for Bitcoin? Bitcoin has some problems with Tether, the vulnerability to Tether that it has, and the vulnerability that it has, I think that Wall Street's pumping this thing up, and with all that liquidity that Wall Street brings, they also bring price stability, right? Price discovery, but that's followed up with price stability. So is Bitcoin going to be as attractive as a play as it has been in the previous 10 years? I don't think so. But nonetheless, in the meantime, these are going to be a couple headwinds for Bitcoin as we have basically Wall Street and governments that are now eating up most of the supply. We'll continue to watch it from here. In regards to Tether, they're looking to revamp the U.S. image as it celebrates 10 years. Eleanor Terrett reporting here. So we now have the 10-year anniversary that the Tether stablecoin has been around. And even though I call out Tether, question Tether, you got to give Tether credit for what they've been able to accomplish so far. Now, I think that they could accomplish a lot more if they actually come into compliance with MiCA, if they come into compliance with the new U.S. stablecoin bills that will be passed, they'll be able to achieve a lot more. And if they don't, well, that's just more market share that's going to go towards RLUSD and Ripple stablecoin, along with Circle and others that do come into compliance. So the stablecoin war is real, similar to Bitcoin versus other assets that I think are going to maybe be a little bit more attractive to the new investors this coming bull run. Right? When folks look at cryptocurrency space, they'll say, okay, yeah, maybe I want to hold a little bit of Bitcoin, but I'm going to throw more of my money at these other assets that provide more of an upside opportunity. This is where I think Bitcoin will be overlooked and where the real returns will be in other assets. In similar fashion, if Tether doesn't get their ducks in a row, don't get in compliance in MiCA, Europe, and in the United States of America, they could be losing market share to other competitors like Circle and Ripple. We'll continue to keep tabs on that one. 100 million XRP transferred from unknown wallet to unknown wallet tonight. We've been watching this huge whale movements of XRP over the past few weeks. Is it a sign of the times? I think it is. I think that there's some big money front running, big ETFs on the way. This is Brad Garlinghouse's response to the second XRP ETF going live. He says it's happening again. And he acts surprised. Eric Balchunas, new filing just dropped for Canary XRP ETF, the second filing joining Bitwise. So first it was Bitwise. Now it is Canary. Is the next one going to be BlackRock? Well, the reason why I put BlackRock CEO Larry Fink and Brad Garlinghouse laughing in tonight's thumbnail, and why I titled tonight's stream Wall Street Wants XRP, is because I think that these guys have been laughing and joking amongst themselves behind the scenes when it comes to XRP, and especially with the ETFs, this whole time. I talked about this back in January when Larry Fink went on Fox Business and was interviewed by Charlie Gasparino. And Charlie Gasparino asked Larry Fink about an XRP ETF. Now think about this. If XRP is a dead project, nobody's interested in XRP, it's not going anywhere. Why did Charlie Gasparino have to get that question off? And why did he have such a twinkle in his eye when he asked Larry Fink about an XRP ETF? It's because it's one big club, we ain't in it, and these guys are sipping champagne and laughing at us behind the scenes. As we were debating, there's all these conversations in the community. Oh my gosh, is there going to be an XRP ETF? Well, how could it be an ETF if XRP is not a security? People didn't understand that assets, commodities, currencies, trading strategies, it can all be put into an ETF. It doesn't make a difference. Now, because XRP is not a security, these products are ETPs. Right? So, there's a slight difference between ETFs and ETPs, but it's really the same thing. ETFs are primarily for securities. ETPs are for assets that aren't securities. So these are all XRP ETPs. Now, the reason why I put this up there, that these guys are laughing, BlackRock CEO, the other reason was because at XRP Las Vegas, had some conversations, had some good times. The vibes were incredible. Despite XRP, at the time, I forget what price it was at, XRP community still has their eyes on the target. Still moving the ball forward. Still building businesses. Still learning more about investing. Still participating in personal development and other aspects of our lives. We got together in XRP Las Vegas. And one of a few different interesting conversations that I had was with somebody who said they got to shake hands with Brad Garlinghouse directly, look him in the eyes and ask him if a BlackRock ETF was on the way. I was told that Brad Grindhouse laughed with a you-know-what eating grin on his face and kind of gave a yeah, probably in response. And now that it's confirmed that Wall Street is launching ETFs, that's why I put the title, Wall Street Wants XRP. Not only do they want XRP, but they want to sell XRP. They want to sell these assets. And in some regards, you could say that they don't care about these assets, whether they go up, whether they go down. What they care about is that investors want exposure. They can sell it to them. Now, I think that they're giddy about this opportunity behind the scenes. And we got to see a little glimpse of that when Charlie Gasparino asked Larry Fink. He could have asked him about any other project. Are you launching Solana? Are you launching Dogecoin? Are you launching this ETF? Why XRP? Just the same question that we've been asking. Why did we get sued first? Why is our lawsuit being appealed? Why are we under attack? Why is there armies of trolls that spread misinformation and lies about XRP? Why? Why? Well, as we've always stated here, it's because it's the biggest threat to the incumbent system. Once the incumbents realized it, they started to stack and acquire as much as possible. Once the incumbents realized how much money there is to be made, the ETFs are coming out of the woodworks. Everybody wants to launch an ETF. And when we look at the success of the Bitcoin ETF, they were some of the most successful ETFs in the history of ETFs. That's coming for XRP. Now, what I'm interested to see, if XRP is able to surpass some of the metrics that the Ethereum ETFs did, because the Ethereum ETFs did not do as good as the Bitcoin did. So it's going to be very interesting to report back on the XRP ETFs. Now, to the point that I was making about Bitcoin and Wall Street coming in and kind of taking control of Bitcoin and how that's going to limit the upside potential, the same thing has taken place in gold and silver, which is why so many of us didn't want an ETF or didn't care for an ETF. And I understand that. This is why silver's been so suppressed. But the point that I continue to remind our community about, when the ETFs for gold got introduced in 2003, when the ETFs for silver got introduced in 2004, over the course of the next 7 to 8 years, on the way to the all-time highs of 2011, gold did a 5x after the ETFs were introduced. Silver did a 10x. What we're seeing now is that the Bitcoin ETF has surpassed all ETFs in history, including the gold ETFs. So is there a potential for the underlying assets to outperform the underlying assets gold and silver when they had their respective ETFs introduced? Now note that gold didn't go to an all-time high the year after an ETF was introduced. Right? It took, in 2003 to 2011, it took some time. In 2004, State Street introduced the first silver ETFs. Silver did a 10x. So is XRP, is Bitcoin, is some of these other crypto assets about to outperform what gold and silver did? I think the potential's there. I think that the overall asset class is set to grow by 5 to 10x conservatively. There's very few people that will discount and deny that the asset class crypto is going to grow by 5 to 10x over the coming, 10 years. Right? Going from 160 billion just in stable coins to 3 trillion. That's just in stable coins. That's not even talking about the other assets as well. Now, we have an opportunity to continue stacking these assets while we see these guys laugh, joke, that glimmer in Charlie Gasparino's eye when he got to ask CEO of BlackRock that question. These guys live for this moment. You got to understand this. Charlie Gasparino, this is one of his proud moments. Not that he has a great list of accomplishments. I mean, he's a respectable guy in his own right, but he's going to look back and say, I got to ask Larry Fink that question about the XRP ETF before they launched the XRP ETF. Before BlackRock, head of ETFs, went to the Mercado Bitcoin Digital Asset Conference that just took place here in Brazil. Now, that would be the same Mercado, you guessed it, that just partnered up with Ripple for cross-border payments, the largest exchange in Latin America. Mercado, right here. So we're watching Mercado partner up with Ripple. They host the conference. BlackRock is here. And what did I say about this moment? The suits are now selling for us with slideshow presentations. That's where we're at. That's how early we are. And I showed in my update earlier today too, that cryptocurrency, the adoption curve is actually faster than the internet. This is happening faster. The suits are now selling it with slideshows. That's where we're at. So whether this asset class and whether Bitcoin or whether XRP is going to do a 5 to 10x from here, that's where the fun is at. That's where the opportunity is at. But the question that I ask after seeing this, you don't think that BlackRock is not having conversations with Mercado, and Mercado, who just partnered up with Ripple, and how many other Ripple partners were present at this conference? Is BlackRock in conversations with Ripple behind closed doors? What would make Brad Garlinghouse so confident to tell somebody that, there might be a little there when it comes to a BlackRock ETF? What would make him so confident? If they were able to get 15 executives from JP Morgan into their offices, this is Ripple offices in San Francisco. If they were able to get 15 executives from JP Morgan, what makes you think they couldn't get someone from BlackRock to show up? Tom Thumb with the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, Tom. Does anybody remember laughter? I think that Larry Fink and Brad Garlinghouse and Charlie Gasparino are getting a good laugh, and I'm laughing about it too. I think it's pretty funny too. Charlie Gasparino. These guys can't wait to talk about XRP. These guys can't wait to sell XRP. But it's all been hush-hush until it's ready for the grand reveal. And the grand Ripple reveal is coming up as this lawsuit concludes and Ripple becomes the little darling of Wall Street. It's not only going to be Wall Street selling XRP, it's going to be Wall Street selling this IPO as well. You have to understand that Ripple, not only are they getting these partnerships, but it's XRP and their whole payments platform that's the award-winning approach, according to Ripple partner Qatar National Bank. And, it should be noted that, once again, for the folks that say that Ripple's not working with banks, here's just one of many. In a recent press junket, Ripple partner Qatar National Bank called out RippleNet use for cross-border remittance as part of their award-winning approach. Now, remember what they said. RippleNet is how you get them on board. They don't want to use XRP right away, maybe. So you get them on board with fiat using RippleNet. And then you show them the secret sauce, XRP, on-demand liquidity. No need for pre-funded accounts. Instant settlement. 3 to 5 seconds at no cost. You show them the secret sauce after you get them in the door. You don't get to invite them over to your house to serve them dinner and show them your secret sauce, right? Unless you're a legitimate player at the table like Ripple has always been. Unless you can report to all of these institutions that you've had success, that you have an award-winning approach. As Bank of America described it, can't wait to use XRP for its competitive advantage after the lawsuit conclusion. Now, how do you get them in your door, though? You got to be legit. You also need a stable coin, which is how we're going to get them in the door. We're going to get them in the door through the stablecoin, show them the secret sauce of XRP. And even if they never want to use XRP, they can just use RLUSD. They can just use other stablecoins. They can just play with other real world assets tokenized on the XRP ledger. All transactions with said assets and stablecoins on the XRP ledger use XRP, burn XRP. You need XRP to use the ledger. And this is the beautiful moment right here. What Ripple's about to do at their Swell conference, and I'm about to get into Q&A, so start dropping your comments, questions down below. I want to get to the Q&A portion. What Ripple's about to reveal at the Swell conference is that the lawsuit didn't stop any partnerships or adoption or growth in the ecosystem and Ripple's business, and that the appeal is not stopping them at all. That they are going to continue pressing forward with all of their initiatives and the different aspects of their business infrastructure that they've been building out, despite the lawsuit, despite the appeal, despite waiting for legislation to get passed. That's what's going to be the big reveal at Ripple's Swell conference. That's my prediction, at least. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think they're going to be revealing at Ripple's Swell. A couple of the other predictions that we talked about was the stablecoin. We're still waiting on that one. The lawsuit conclusion, we were wrong about that one. Smash the pie in my face and make fun of me all you want. We thought that the lawsuit conclusion was coming yesterday, October 7th. We thought the appeal window was going to expire. We should have known that the SEC is just that stubborn. We should have known it was going to be this way. So the lawsuit conclusion, we were wrong on that prediction. That's fine. We knew the potential was there. That's why I talked about being hedged. A lot of people miss that. They think I'm just an XRP hypester. They miss where I talk about being hedged. For the lawsuit appeal and for World War III and other events, stablecoin we'll see, lawsuit conclusion we'll see, ETF already here. 2 of them. That was another prediction that I had for Ripple Swell Conference, was we were going to get an announcement that somebody had plans to launch an ETF. Well, we don't need to wait around anymore on that one. We already got 2. Are we going to see more? Maybe. The final one is more real-world asset tokenization. I think that you're going to see some of their partners like Exceller, Archax, and others, Peersys, just unveil kind of what they've been working on with real-world asset tokenization and showcasing how the XRP ledger basically is about to just be a thriving ecosystem with DeFi, all the way from retail users, all the way to the biggest institutions in the world tokenizing assets on the XRP ledger. How are we doing here tonight? Let's take some comments, questions. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you guys like this video. Help me out by sharing it out far and wide. You think the government is going to sell the Bitcoin that they hold? Well, they just got approval from the Supreme Court. So they can. Will they? I think that this administration doesn't care to hold Bitcoin. Now, Trump says that we will hold the Bitcoin. Dubai banks starting to use XRP. Yeah, so in the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa, Ripple's just been exploding up there in the MENA region. Dubai as well. Dubai just removed taxes on crypto. So, we could be doing cool things like that here in the United States, leaning into adoption, leaning into investment, leaning into capitalists and entrepreneurs that want to build things of value in this country. But no, God, no. Why should we be doing that? We continue to attack businesses. We're live here on TikTok, YouTube, and X tonight. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. Everything is at ZachRector.com, and let's do some Q&A. What is the flattest state in the USA? I don't know the answer to that question. I would imagine it'd be somewhere out in the Midwest. That would be my guess. Kansas, Oklahoma, something like that. Maybe Iowa. Do they have mountains in Iowa? They just got corn out there. Love from Malaysia. Lunchtime. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Malaysia in the house. Where are you guys at tonight? Anybody in Florida? I do want to give a shout out to Gary Cardone. I was laughing. I got to respect it, though. The dude's preparing for a hurricane and still shilling Bitcoin at the same time. I was like, that's dedication, you know? It's nice when your brother Grant can send over the PJ to come pick you up and take you over to Miami. That's pretty cool. But shout out to Gary Cardone for still shilling Bitcoin and running Bitcoin spaces while he was preparing for the hurricane. I thought that was pretty good dedication. Florida? Florida's the flattest state. Is that true? Yeah, I guess there's no mountains in Florida, is there? That's so crazy to me. Where I live, I'm surrounded by the ocean, mountains, lakes, rivers, nature. You guys are still in Florida. You guys are riding out the storm. I saw that flooding is already taking place down there. So the flooding's already arrived. It's pretty devastating to see that you got areas where the sides of the road, I mean, it's already a disaster. These places have already been wiped out completely. And now we're getting ready for another one. Zach, what is your sell point for XRP going to be in the coming bull run? I'm thinking $8. That's a good question. I appreciate you asking that. So I put together my entire XRP exit strategy, not only the targets that I'm going to sell XRP at, but my plans for what I'm going to be doing with the profits from selling XRP. I put that all together in my XRP exit strategy. It's available on my Patreon for purchase. So if you guys want to, get access to that, you just head on over to my Patreon and you can buy that. You can get access to it. It's a full and complete breakdown. When I'm selling, why I'm selling, where I'm selling, which exchanges, why I'm using multiple exchanges, and then what I'm going to be doing, the 3 different things I'm going to be doing with my XRP profits. So that's all available. Also, if you sign up for access to our Discord group, you get access to all of our business development content, the XRP exit strategy, all of our weekly calls and everything. So the real value, the real package is just to sign up through Patreon to get access to our Discord group. You get access to everything. Business development, tactical wealth, real estate, prepping calls, weekly calls, exclusive updates, access to me. You want to shoot me a message. It's the only place that I respond to messages is on my Discord and on my Patreon. So come on in. Zach, do you work out at all? I do not. Patrick, I am about to start working out again. Right now, no workout for me. Yeah, it's not looking good. We are praying for Florida right now. I'd sell every bit of my XRP at $1. Well, there's just nothing behind that besides $1 being a psychological level, right? Nobody can point to the charts. Nobody can point to any fundamental analysis. No one can do any valuation on XRP and say that the fundamental value is only going to be $1. Or, one thing that you could say is that there's going to be a sell-off at $1. That's something that we can probably all anticipate. But as far as how high will XRP go this bull run, to say that $1 is the top is not based off of any technical or fundamental analysis, period. It's just not. Profit is profit and not the top. Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a reason to sell, you want to lock in the profit that you got at $1 and you're a trader, then that's fine. I just don't think that, to say I would sell everything at $1 as if it's not going to go higher this bull run, you might be missing a couple bucks. Let's pull up the charts here real quick. Look here. This is Bitcoin right now at 62,400. XRP at 53 cents. You Patreon shill. Yeah, I have no shame in pushing my private community. I believe in the value that we're bringing. And the reason why I can do what I do without having to shill sponsorships or anything like that is because I'm supported by the community, right? So I have no shame in shilling my Patreon, shilling my private community. My private community is really small, actually, and it's a tight knit group, like minded individuals. Um, and once again, that support is why I can, have the show and the platform that I have that isn't tainted by trying to shill sponsors, trying to shill projects. You know what I'm saying? It's a good spot to be in when you're just supported through your community. I'm not forcing anybody to listen to ads or me push crap, right? I put my content out there. I put myself out there. I put my thesis out there. I explain what I'm investing in, why I'm investing in it, when I'm going to sell, why I'm selling, and I let the community bring even more value too. That's the beautiful part of it. Chester, that's a good question. I don't know about that. Canary, that's a good question. You're sponsored by Ripple. A lot of people still think that I am sponsored by Ripple. I don't have any sponsors, which that won't always be the case, but yeah, I like being in the spot that I'm in where I can just speak freely. I don't have to worry about, I'm going to lose a sponsorship deal. I'm going to offend somebody. I like being able to offend some people. Which Rolly are you buying at 589, bro? Jane, that's a good question. Probably not going to buy a Rolly this bull run. Or even at 589, I still don't think I'd buy a Rolly. Yeah, I do like a nice watch. I just, I don't need to spend $5,000, $10,000 plus on a watch. You know what I'm saying? Like my Citizen's watch, I think I paid $500 for it, and I love it, man. It's small. It tells the time, and that's it. It's a nice little additive supplemental look. But I didn't have to spend a stupid amount on it, right? And it gets the job. I can appreciate the watches, but I don't really have any plans to buy a Rolly. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's crazy because I haven't, this is what's so interesting to me is that in most cases it's projection. What you're seeing from all these projects that have, criticized Ripple of all these things. When you actually look at this cryptocurrency space, everything that they've criticized Ripple of doing, all these other projects are doing. I was listening to a space earlier, and Vet, he's a validator on the XRP ledger. He said how Binance just did a research paper on how basically there's over $100 billion worth of tokens that are set to be unlocked. And I don't know what the time frame is. I don't know if that's over the next year. I don't know if that's over the next couple years. But, in the near term, relatively speaking, there's over $100 billion worth of tokens that are set to be unlocked to founders and projects. Yet everybody wants to criticize Ripple, even though Ripple has made it more clear than anybody else in the space. Ripple has been more criticized than anybody else for their handling, for what they've done with the escrow, criticized for dumping on us, when they're one of the few projects that's actually built a use case and utility for a crypto asset. When you look at these other projects, they're in the same camp, except you don't have a predictable escrow. They can just decide to dump whenever they want, sell whenever they want, create more tokens whenever they want. We don't have anything like that. We have complete predictability and transparency. And I've always said, it's industry-leading transparency at Ripple. Yet they're criticized for how they've handled their escrow. They're literally telling everybody, hey, everybody, we're locking up half the supply of XRP, and, we're basically releasing it to ourselves $1 billion each month, and we're going to show you guys what we're doing with it, which is selling it. When we do sell it, it's a small amount compared to the 1 billion that we get each month. We sell off maybe 100 or 200 million, and it's only going to our on-demand liquidity partners. That's it. So it's only being sold and used in the use case and the utility that we built. How can you knock that? That's a real business that involves a crypto asset. Unlike these other projects, which just dump tokens based off of a roadmap, if they have one, that gives them an excuse to dump tokens. And one of the reasons why they dump tokens or gift tokens is to actually pay influencers to shill. That was all released in what got exposed with Polygon. None of these influencers gave a rat's butt about Polygon. They only did because they were literally making 6 figures plus a year. All of these contracts were hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. A lot of these folks, I don't even like talking, because I don't like to be the guy that's talking about, negativity, like, oh, they're, criticizing and talking about the bad that somebody else is doing or what somebody's not doing. I don't like talking about other people, but this is where the conversation led us. These guys aren't making money trading crypto. A lot of these guys and gals, influencers, are pretending to make all this money trading crypto. The only trades that they're making is dumping the tokens that they were gifted on you. That's how they make their money. And then they're getting paid money for shilling, and then they pretend like they're making money trading. They pretend like they're, got another business, or, they're pretending. And the only business that many of these influencers have had is shilling tokens or dumping tokens that they were gifted early on. Great live, Zach. I've got a feeling it's going to be a great Christmas from 1970 HODL. I appreciate that. Appreciate that support, 1970. Yeah, I think it is going to be a great transition period. We're going through a storm right now. It's going to be rough as hell. But on the other side of that, not only is it going to be smooth sailing, we're going to be moving faster than ever before. But the reason why I bring that up is because folks say, I'm a Ripple shill. They say that others are a Ripple shill. And from what we've been able to uncover, even in the court documents, is that Ripple talked about activating the community and activating, community members. Never did they say that they were paying influencers. Never has it been disclosed, which if an influencer didn't disclose it, that would be that's breaking the law, in depending on the situation and circumstances, but in most cases. And it's never been uncovered. Nobody's ever been able to get a receipt, despite all the claims that Ripple pays all of us XRP influencers. Nobody's ever been able to find a receipt. Nobody's ever actually disclosed that. The only marketing dollars that we've seen Ripple spend has been on, like, sending Ashton Kutcher to Ellen and other stuff like that, right? Like, nobody, and what came out in the court documents is that there was internal emails about activating the community. Well, every crypto project wants to activate a community. And in fact, I don't even think that it's morally wrong, ethically wrong, or necessarily a bad thing to pay for marketing, to pay, influencers to show your project if it's all disclosed. Now, it's only moral and ethical if that influencer actually believes in the token that they're selling. Right? If they're just talking up a project because they want to sell it or dump it on you, then that's not moral or ethical. If they're not disclosing it, that's not right. But if they are, if it's all above board, then okay, good luck, God bless. I believe that it's actually one of the flaws of many projects on the XRP ledger is how they handle marketing. I mean, it's a problem for many projects across the entire cryptocurrency space. But even for some of the projects that I've talked to on the XRP ledger too, and observed and watched, is the way that they handle marketing or don't handle marketing at all. There's a right way to do it. That's the point. And Ripple's always done it the right way. And in fact, they've been leading the industry. They've laid out the blueprint. Hey guys, and look at, compare it to these other blockchains like Ethereum and others, where there still is no cap on ETH supply. But guys, I think I'm gonna have to wrap up this call. I am hearing some crying going on. Sounds like some children didn't make it to bed here. So I'm gonna make sure that everything's okay in our household. You guys make sure that everything's okay in your household. And if you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you guys have subscribed, hit that notification bell, and like this video, share it out far and wide. I'll be back tomorrow with some more content. I also dropped an update earlier today comparing XRP versus RLUSD. So if you still want a little bit more clarity on that, that was dropped earlier today. Everything else is at ZachRector.com. I want to say thank you to everybody that gave gifts tonight, everybody that showed support, everybody that supports us, whether you go to the website, whether you're in our private group, whether you just like the video, share it out. It does not go unnoticed. Couldn't be doing this without you guys. And I truly feel like we have a long ways to go here too on this journey together. We're going to be praying for Florida, praying for this country, and praying for the good people across this planet that are trying to do right and trying to defeat this evil. That's what this fight's about. And if you guys want to join us in this fight, well, stick around for more. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Take care. God bless you all.